What's up, guys? It's your boy James, aka Six8Jay, coming to you on this Wednesday evening. And man, do I have a special guest for you guys. We have an incredible show, guys. Before I get started, let me always remind you nothing that we talk about, not myself or my brother, John Singh, should be deemed or taken as financial advice. We're not financial advisors. We're just documenting our journey in the evolution of money. So, guys, I'm really excited. Before I get started, let me go over the market cap real quick. We're at $1.8 trillion. Bitcoin kind of going sideways, 28,004 and some change. Ethereum still under $1,600. BNB 210, XRP 48 cents. They're talking about 400. Good Lord, what's going on? We'll see. Solana's at 23.53. ADA is at 24 cents. We've got Doge at 5 cents. Everything else is pretty much the same, guys. Let's get right into it. Obviously, we have a lot to talk about. Also, guys, make sure you guys tune in tomorrow. We have let's see if I can find it here. We have an X Space at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, which will be 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, with my man Jack the Rippler, Edo Farina, myself, and King Dogo. Guys, make sure you tune in for that. It's going to be absolutely incredible. So, without further ado, guys, and wasting any more time, let me bring in my brother from another mother, Mr. John Singh. Are you there?
Yes, sir.
How you doing, my brother?
Fantastic, man. How about yourself?
I am doing fantastic, guys. And before we get going, let me say what's up to the family. Liz, how you doing, sis? Appreciate you being here. Crypto Tropic, Shane Sullivan, how you guys doing? I know we got a lot of people that's still coming in. We can see a lot of views here. So, guys, we're going to be talking about $1 million mindset, $1 million mindset. I've known this guy for a long time. I kind of want to share a little bit of background about him before I actually have him start going over some of the things that he's accomplished. I met John when I was about 13 years old. For those of you guys who want to check that story out, you can go over here to our YouTube Live. If you scroll all the way down, he was like one of the very first videos that I did. I think right now we're at about 543 videos, so he might be like the like the third or fourth video. But if you scroll down, you'll be able to see his story. I've known him since I was 13 years old, guys. He's family to me, as much as family as my own brother. His mom was my very first job at 13 years old, so I got crazy respect and admiration for this guy and his wife. And I'm also a new uncle. He just had a little guy, so super excited about that. But our story goes back to when I was a young man. I had my first job with his mom. I went on to, because there's a bit of an age difference. I think when I was 13, he was 5 or something like that. So I went on to high school, played some college ball, went overseas to Puerto Rico, came back, and became an entrepreneur. During the time that I was an entrepreneur, I was at a car auction. At the time, I owned a car lot, and I was standing there with a bunch of other dealers, and we were waiting for the auction to get started, and they were over there talking about this 19-year-old kid at the time, or this 19-young man who was making all this money. And I just heard, guys, because a lot of times when people do extraordinary things, people start talking about it, especially in a city that we were in. And they were going on about this kid, and he did this, and he did that, and he's making like $25,000, $30,000 a month, and he's one of the most sought-after speakers. And they kept talking about it. It wasn't until they said his mom's name that I finally figured out who it was. And I said, wait a minute. I said, you mean like John Singh? Like, can't be my John Singh. And they were like, that's exactly who it is. And so I called John. I lost my mind. I couldn't believe it. I didn't even want to be at the auction no more, because I'm like, how did this guy, the last time I talked to this guy, I think I saw him at Costco. He was driving like a beat-up car, and the next thing you know, you're talking about this guy is like one of the biggest talked about people in the city that we're in. And sure enough, I called the guy on the phone. He comes around in a brand new limited edition Tahoe, dressed up, probably wearing a Rolex and $1,000 outfit. And I'm looking at him, it just didn't make sense. His haircut was fresh. He smelled like $1 million. And I mean, as happy as I was like, dang, what did I miss out on? So that's kind of me and John's story. From that point, he's never looked back. He's never gone back to Costco. He's never had a job. And throughout the years, I'm just kind of giving the landscape. He's been one of the most sought after speakers. Really sought after as far as flying out and building teams, helping companies excel. He's a multi-million-dollar earner. I remember watching the news one day, just sitting home, watching TV, and the news was on. And they were talking about some of the biggest buildings in our city. I won't name the building. I won't name the city. That had just been sitting there forever, and then all of a sudden they're talking about this young entrepreneur that bought the building. And when they said the name, it was almost like at the car auction. I'm like, what did you say again? Oh, something, John Singh. And I'm just like, dude, this is crazy. I look in the paper the next day. He's out there taking pictures with the mayor, cheesing, cutting ribs. I'm just like, every time I see this dude, every time we lose track, I hear incredible things. Then he went on. I heard about things that's going on in other countries where he was building like getaway resorts in certain countries. It's just nonstop. So guys, let me take it back and just ask John. For those of you guys who don't know John, talk to us about what this topic is. $1 Million Mindset. How did that start at 19 years old serving hot dogs, brother? And I mean, we're just gonna shoot the because I know you, your family, but a lot of these people maybe they haven't heard your story. How does a 19-year-old guy, 2 years out of high school, flipping hot dogs, like what hit you? And we don't have to talk about like the industry and that, but like what made you go from serving a hot dog? And I used to crack me up with this hot dog or Polish. It's like the day you got sick and tired. You want a hot dog or Polish? What made you go from that to an entrepreneur that now is almost legendary? And what are you like? Maybe I think you might be like 39 or 40 years old. Like I just don't understand how you did all that at such an early age. So if you can explain that, because I've done great things in my life, but here I am 52, and even at the time that I did in my late 20s, you were 19 years old. And it just blew me away. So explain that mindset, brother.
100%. Well, first of all, thank you for allowing me to be on your YouTube channel, man. This is exciting. I know you're rocking and rolling and crushing it and everything that you do, and super excited to spend some time in the near future with you and your family.
Absolutely.
And just grateful and honored to learn from you too. Because I mean, you've always been a big brother to me growing up. I've always looked up to you, not just because you're 6'8", but I'm only 6 feet tall, but I've always looked up to you, man, because you've always made things happen, and you've taught me a lot of things in life too, from life skills to flipping cars, like you name it. We've been roommates twice. I mean, we've known each other for a long time, man. So I'm grateful to be on here with you, and it's nice to meet all your audience. But what got me in that mindset? Well, when I was 12 years old, my dad got murdered. He got robbed and killed in my hometown. He had just started his own cab company. He had a couple cabs, and it was all over the news for like a year straight because he knew a lot of people in my hometown. So I remember at 12 years old, I started doing exactly what you were doing, right? Selling door-to-door sales and working with my mom. And I never stopped working from that time forward, since I turned 12 years old that year, 1992. And I just remember like, man, this is hard work, right? It gets really, really hot in our hometown, especially in the summertime. It was hot. It was hard work, long days, lots of doors, slammed in the face, right? So I just remember that was, it was definitely hard work. And I remember I got my first job at 16 years old, pushing carts over at Super Kmart. And that was also hard work, right? And yes, I got a paycheck, but I remember getting my first paycheck thinking like, who the heck is FICA? Why are they taking money out of my paycheck? I'm like, it wasn't like this when I was doing door-to-door sales.
Who the heck is
and I'm
FICA?
Like, yeah, like who's taking a percentage of my check? And I remember when I heard about the next thing when I turned 18, that I could make more money, $8 an hour starting at Costco, because I was making like $4.75 when I started an hour at Super Kmart. And so I got a job there, and same thing. I remember just every month thinking like, man, how do I get ahead of these bills? And I'll still live at home with my mom, so I didn't even have a whole lot of bills, but just the car insurance, the car payments, and the cell phone bills and all that. Cell phone bills used to be even a lot more expensive back then. I just remember there's got to be a better way.
Let me ask you a question, and I want you to pause there, because I can't have you keep telling the story without your mom. I always brag about my mom. John's mom was something very special, and still is something very special in the area that we were in. This lady, who she would go out and get kids from the hood, and this is what she did. She presented opportunities for kids who were in the streets, keeping kids out of gangs, keeping kids from stealing and robbing houses, where we were from was the hard knocks. John's not telling that part of it. We were from the hard knocks. And if you look at two of the most deadliest gangs in America, they were featured out of the top 10 deadliest gangs, or top 20 deadliest gangs. Two of them were in our city. And so what his mom did is she provided a way for us, I was 13 at the time, for kids to get off the street, gave us something to do, gave us an opportunity to help our parents out. And this lady would fill up her kid with her van with a bunch of degenerate kids, and gave us opportunity and taught us life skills. So shouts out to mom. Much love to her. A spectacular lady, and so I just want to give her kudos. But go ahead, John.
100%. Yeah, she is incredible. She's actually here with us right now, which is awesome. Helping out with my son, so I could be on this with you right now. So, yeah. So when I turned 19, I remember my mom saying, "Go to school, get a good job, get a good education." And I got in debt. I went to San Joaquin Valley College. That cost money. My mom paid for half of it. And I remember applying places once I graduated, and I quickly learned I was going to go from $8 an hour to $10 an hour. $8 what I was making at Costco to $10 an hour. And to me, that wasn't that exciting either. And my mom's like, "Don't worry about it, son. Don't worry about it, mijo. Further your education. You still live at home." And I looked into furthering my education. It was going to be an additional $30,000 in school loans just so I could make just a couple dollars more an hour for business administration. I'm like, this is just crazy to me. So how did I develop that mindset? I was just sick and tired of being sick and tired of trading my time for money. And I knew that I was worth more than $8 an hour, $10 an hour, $12 an hour. I knew that my time was worth more than that. And I knew that there was more out there after seeing people like yourself as an entrepreneur making things happen. I was like, I knew that other people could succeed in life and get that time freedom and get paid what they're worth. That's what helped me start developing that mindset of becoming an entrepreneur, because I knew that my time was more valuable than what I was currently getting at that time. And that's when I began searching and looking. And that's when I became an entrepreneur at 19 years old. I was like, I'm willing to do whatever it takes. And I'll tell you the day that I made the decision to want to become an entrepreneur. My great grandmother had passed away. And I remember going to my boss at the time in the food court at Costco saying, "Hey, my great grandmother passed away. I need to take these days off because this is when her funeral is." And I remember my boss telling me, "Well, I don't have anyone else to fill that schedule at that time, so I can't let you off." I'm like, "My great grandmother died." And I remember she looked at me and she goes, "Well, that's not really like immediate family." So I'm like, "My great grandmother raised me." Right, and she's like, "Well, yeah, I get it." But I was like, "Well, can I just switch with somebody? Because I got to go to my great grandmother's funeral. My family's really tight." And she's like, yeah, you can't do that either. I'm not going to approve it. I was like, "Well, I'm not going to miss my great grandmother's funeral." She goes, "Well, if you don't show up to work, you might not have a job when you get back." Jeez. So that conversation is what sparked me to say, you know what? I never want to ask anybody for permission ever again of when I can eat, when I got to be somewhere, when I can and cannot go somewhere like a funeral. I was like, I made the decision right then and there. I was like, I'll do whatever it takes to be my own boss, do what I want to do, when I want to do it, and who I want to do it with based off that conversation. So that's what helped me start developing that mindset of, I'm not working for anyone ever again.
And you know, it's so crazy hearing you say that kind of gave me goosebumps right now, because I remember when I had a job, I hated someone saying, "Come to work at 8, go to lunch at 12. What if I'm not hungry? Get off at 6. What if I want to get off at 4? So I remember me and you, I mean, like you said, we were roommates twice because we just, they say success attracts success. Now, one of the things that I want to ask you, John, I mean, was it like when somebody has the ability to jump, or someone has the ability to play basketball or sing, was it a quality you had? Or from what I remember, I would get in your vehicle and you were playing audio tapes. You had books. I mean, you were a freaking student of success. I think that's one of the things that made me start, because I was, I got around the right people, basketball, 6'8", and all those things, and I was able to come into business that way. You were a student of success. How you talk was different. Your mindset was different. How you carried yourself. And I used to have to look and go, dang, this dude's like at that time like 20 years old. I'm like, how's this possible? And then what happened is you became so good at it that you would go places and there would be people in their 20s, 30s, 40s waiting in line to shake your hand. I'm like, so can you talk about the journey of what you did to better yourself? Like, I remember one of your favorite things is when you change this, you change everything else.
100%. So I remember going to an event. My mom introduced me to a guy who was making a lot of money working from home. He was making like $10,000 a month working from home. And I'm like, man, if he could show me how to do this, I'm in, right? and I remember like it was yesterday. It was March 27th, year 2000. That was the day that I met him, Paul. And yeah. I was like, man, this guy, was living on a man-made lake, beautiful home. He used to be a sales manager selling Toyota, and now he's a full-time entrepreneur. I'm like, man, if you could show me how to do this, I'm coachable, I'm trainable, I'm ready to rock and roll. And I remember getting started, but I remember him promoting to go to this event in San Diego, California. And I was like, San Diego, that'd be awesome. And I remember I rented a car, I drove to San Diego, I brought people with me, and I remember going to that event and I saw just some inspirational people that were saying, hey, if you want things to change, you have to change. If you want things to get better, you have to get better. You have to take responsibility for where you're at in life and for where you are not in life.
Right.
And I was like, man, those words just hit me like a ton of bricks. I'm like, yeah, I definitely need to learn how to be like these people. So I just studied them. I studied how they walked, how they talked, how they acted and interacted, how they dressed, how they moved, and what made them transform them into how they are today with being successful individuals. And I was like, so what books do you read? And they're like, we read books, read audio. I'm like who? They're like Jim Rohn and Tony Robbins and John Maxwell on leadership. So I literally just became a student. I remember I got my first book. It was Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Yeah. And I read that book cover to cover. And then I got the audio and I just listened to it over and over and over and over and over again to where it just became a lifestyle. I'm like, I'm going to do everything these guys say to do, because they're like, for example, that book, Think and Grow Rich, there's 13 laws to success, not rules. Rules could be broken. Right. These are laws, right? That cannot be broken. And where he studied all the most successful people at that time in that day and age in America, and they all had 13 commonalities of how they got to where they're at. Like Henry Ford, right? Like some of the wealthiest people in the world, the J. Paul Gettys of the world. Right. And he said they all had 13 things in common, and these are laws of how they got to where they're at. So once I got on that train of personal growth and learning from other individuals, I'm like, man, they put their pants on one leg at a time, shoes one shoe at a time. They have the same 24 hours in a day that I have. And if they're willing to teach, I'm willing to learn. Right. So that's how I got on the journey. So I remember going to that event and they said, listen, the highway, you can listen to music and copying other people's rap lyrics, and you're literally singing along to them living their dreams, or watching people play sports and they're on the field, they're on the basketball court, and they're living their dreams, right? Or you can start sharpening your axe before you cut down that tree and start investing in yourself and turn the road into the international highway of education. So every time I drove anywhere, I was listening to audiobooks and sharpening my axe and learning and learning and learning.
Yeah, and it's crazy because we always talk about, the 4 types of people: the shark, the dolphin, the urchin, and the whale. And one of the things I gave that analogy one time about, shark is someone like you and I who's a go-getter. Whale is a person who likes to help people. Dolphin likes to have fun. And the urchin, documentation beats conversation, always doing their due diligence. One thing I can say about you is that, and myself, is we knew how to have fun. It was crazy because I remember when we took that course, we were so much alike. We were sharks, but we didn't run over people. We were whales, just enough, we love people, but we didn't let people take advantage of us. We knew how to have fun, and man, did we have fun. I mean, we traveled around the world. We were in Italy together. We were on some of the biggest beaches around the world. I mean, we did some incredible stuff. But and we always got enough information to make a decisive decision. So that's what I loved about you. I remember the first day, and there's so many parts about what you've done I want to talk about, but let's stick to just really quickly, when you became the guy who was learning from Jim Rohn, Tony Robbins, Napoleon Hill, and all these guys too. When I got out of that auction and I called you, and you came to my my car lot, and my building started rattling, and I think you were trying to make a point, right? You were trying to make a point, but you pulled up, and I was just in awe. I couldn't believe it. To make a long story short, you invited me to come watch you at this event that was at the Ramada Inn. And I was at the Ramada Inn. There was about 500 plus people, and I remember just looking around, seeing all these people. Some people were professionals. Some people I had grew up with. People who were way older than you. And I sit there and I'm waiting to see if I see you, somewhere like, where's John Singh? And it was a leadership event, about leadership and about getting your mind right and things like that, for a better lack of what it was. And I'm looking around, and and here's the crazy thing: I looked over and saw my stinking brother there. That's how many people were there. I seen people we went to school. I saw my brother. I'm like, what are you doing here? And all of a sudden they called your name, and you walk on stage. And I just remember having goosebumps and just feeling like the proudest big bro ever. But I knew at that point you had transcended, you had done something different, and it really made me open my mind up to being a better student. Because at that time, like you said, I was already a business owner. I'd already played pro ball, but and so I say all that to say you're always learning. Even with me, I'm always learning. I didn't read a lot of books or listen to audio until you started telling me about, James, you need to do this. And this came from a guy who I used to give piggyback rides to when I was a stinking kid when I was 13 years old. So I definitely appreciate you with that. Now, let me ask you this. So how'd you go from speaking and motivating to the next thing that I hear is you've got this multi-million-dollar, let's say if that's the next thing you did, I believe it was, this multi-million-dollar real estate company. So how'd you go from, and I don't want to skip too much because we traveled the world together. We spoke on some of the biggest stages together. You're an award-winning speaker. You're one of the youngest guys that I've ever known in my life to be in a magazine before I even got into a magazine. You got some of the most prestigious awards. You work with some of the biggest people in the world, and I don't want to leave out the fact that you were actually in connection with Donald Trump. I mean, you've done things and went to events and spoke alongside that guy, which is just, this is before there was a President Trump. This is back when, he was just the guy from, The Apprentice. And I'm looking up and I saw this magazine. I'm like, every time I turn around, you're always like 10X yourself. You're always going to the next level. And then I look up and I hear that once I saw the building, I heard that you and your company, not some guy that just got some money together, you and your real estate company bought this multi-million-dollar building. So what transcended from, being a speaker and not stopping there to saying, okay, I want to move on to real estate, which led into you building vacation resorts in like Belize and other countries to, I look up, I go to a corner one day, I drive by, you own the TV shop. I go over here, you got a car business. I mean, just talk to me about your entrepreneur mindset, brother, how that just kept transcending.
It was just connections. Like every time I came across other people that move, touch, and inspire me to do more or become more, it would inspire me to do that, right? So the way that I got into real estate, it was in 2004. One of my closest friends, his name's Nima, his cousin owned a real estate company in San Diego. And at the time, I didn't know my two younger brothers when I was growing up. And in 2004 is when I went to a Starbucks that I heard that my little brother worked at, and I wanted to go meet him. So I went there, and he had just quit, I guess, the day before because he was going back to school at Point Loma of Nazarene out in San Diego. And so I asked for his number, and they're like, well, if that's your brother, why don't you have his number? I was like, well, here's my number. I was like, give it to him, have him call me. So I got in connection with my little brothers again, and they were leaving the next day to go back to school, back to college in San Diego. And so we actually ended up going to dinner that night. It's a Mexican restaurant. And then I literally went with them. I drove with them just to get to know them because I wanted to know my younger brothers better, right? And I literally stayed in their dorms with them just to get to know them better. So while I was out there, one of my best friends, Nima, introduced me to his cousin Puya, and he was telling me how he had made like 7.3 million that year in real estate. He had a 25,000 square foot office in Carlsbad, California, like overlooking the ocean. And I was like, what? And he was a year younger than me. So he introduced me to him. I'm like, man, I'm traveling all over doing all these things, and life was good, but man, there's levels, right? And to see the success that they had, I was like, man, it's always been on my vision board. I wanted to learn about real estate. So I literally started working there with them. I told them, I said, I will be your number one salesperson. I was like, you can keep all my paychecks. I don't need any of the money. And I was like, they had their own telemarketing office and they would generate leads. And I told them, keep all your leads. I'm going to generate all my own leads. You can keep all the money, and I'm going to open up the first franchise of your company in my hometown so I can help out some of my family members and friends there. And 8 months later, I became the number one salesperson, opened up a franchise office over there. And because we produced so much out of that office, they asked me to be their equal partner. So that's how they started. That's how I got started in the whole real estate stuff.
So you just said something that triggered something. I'm going to go back a little bit. And I've known, and this is something I've known, and I don't know if you had it at Costco, but this is something I always knew about you. So let me go back real quick, guys. What's up, Quid Stream? Welcome to the stream. Real quick, Gmail Brown, always one away. Anthony Wanner, Liz, I appreciate all you guys. Andrew T, I see you guys here. We've got quite a few people in here today. Beekeeper69, Bullish, Big D, bullish animals in the house. Thank you guys all for being here. Appreciate you guys. OMC, how you doing? OMC, Shane Sullivan. So guys, really quickly, now I remember going to your house. I'm gonna tell you a couple of things that really messed me up. Right, is the first time I saw you on stage and they called your name in front of those 500 people, and I'm thinking, I used to give this guy a freaking, because like you said, there's levels. Like I've had businesses, then I had to always level up, and it's weird because in some weird way I feel like we always made each other level up in some weird way, right? We always made each other level up. And I remember when I heard about the whole building thing, and because I always wanted to have my own real estate license. I always wanted to do it. And again, here goes my little bro inspiring me to get so I was like, you know what? I want to get a real estate license. So I call up John and I go to this freaking beautiful building. I walk in and there's all these stinking rows of people. Like, what's that doggone movie? Like, where Leonardo DiCaprio and he had all the people, you know what I'm talking about? The
Wolf of Wall Street?
Yeah, Wolf of Wall Street, right? I swear to God, guys, for those of you guys watching, it felt like the Wolf of Wall Street. It was all these cubicles, all these real estate agents. You walk in, there's a secretary. You walk over here, there's different levels of people who were in the business. And then you look at this big glass window with this beautiful office, leather seat and everything else. And they go, oh, that's where the boss sits. And I walk up to the boss's office, like the Wolf of Wall Street, and you turn around, the damn chair is you. And I'm sitting there going, dude, this dude is always freaking leveling up. And I remember walking and I said, John, look, I want to get my real estate license. Again, I was a business owner. I was an entrepreneur, but it just seems like, and there's times with me, same thing with the car business. I got you into it, or the different things that we've done together. We've always or crypto. I introduced you to crypto and the things that we did. I mean, and that's the story we'll get into in just a minute. But I remember walking in the office again, feeling so proud, man. And you were doing these huge deals, and you let me sit in there where you were on these conference calls. You were talking about places that you were doing and developing here, and I'm looking at your, and again, I know you personally, so I'm looking at your desk. I'm seeing these $100,000 checks cut to you, and I mean multiple checks. I'm sitting there going, dude, what is so? Just talk about again, staying the course, investing in yourself. And I saw a comment where someone says, I'm a little late, meaning that I want to do the same thing, but I'm a little late. And here's what I learned with you, myself, and when you look at people like Warren Buffett, it's never too late, man. The guy started at 60 years old. So just talk about the ongoing success and keeping your, always keeping your tools sharpened, man, because it's been very, very impressive.
100%, man. Well, you just got to remember why you're doing whatever it is that you're doing, right? They say if your why doesn't make you cry, it's not strong enough. So you got to have some motivation, some goals, some objective that you want to accomplish, right? And it's got to be bigger than yourself. It's got to be bigger than the own problems in your household of who turns the toilet paper this way or that way, or who's emptied the trash, wash dishes. Like, you got to create bigger problems than yourself that you want to go out there and provide solutions to. But what keeps you going is it's your why. It doesn't matter what your age is. Like, you got to figure out why you want to have success, right? And that's going to dictate, and that's going to create what it is that you want. And then you got to reverse engineer from there how to get it, right? So whatever it is in life, whether it's getting healthier, or having a better relationship with your spouse or your parents or your children, right? Like, whatever it is that you want to excel at in life, you got to set a goal for yourself, right? You got to set a goal for yourself, and then you got to create a vision board. Like, what does it look like? What does it look like? What do you see? Like, where do you see yourself, right? Because it's so easy to throw in the towel. It's so easy to be comfortable and turn on the TV. It's so easy to watch some sports. It's so easy to just chill and do nothing, right? Sleep in. That's right. But it's easy if you have a goal to go after it, right? Like, I wake up every day motivated. Like, I wake up every day looking forward to seeing my son, to holding my son, to going out there and watering, giving the chickens some water and feeding my cats. Like, I look forward to the day. I look forward to inspiring other people. I look forward to serving others and helping other people achieve their dreams and goals. So you just got to find out what motivates you, and that's what's going to keep you on going. And I'll tell you another quick story. He was talking about Belize. I had moved out there for a couple of years, and I remember that being out there was fun. I met so many new people and friends, and we were doing so many cool deals. And one of my closest friends out there, I was actually staying with him. I'm at his place. It was right on the ocean. I mean, rooftop deck, 5-story. He had maids, cooks, everything. And I was like, man, this is the life, right? But you know what the worst feeling was in the world? None of my family members and friends were there with me.
Yep.
I was like, man, this, like, for 2 years, traveled. I went to spend a month in China, and I was going to Costa Rica, just all over the world, because I always had a dream to do that. And at the time I was 27 years old. And my mom came out to visit one time, for like a week, like some friends would come out for a few days or a week, and I ended up being like a tour guide out there. But I remember it was my mom's birthday, and her birthday's on Christmas Eve. And every year I always spend her birthday with her, Christmas Eve and Christmas. And I was just coming back for that. And I was just thinking to myself on my plane ride home, I was like, you know what? This has been great. This has been fun. But it's not fun unless you bring your family and friends with you, right? Like I don't feel like I'm winning unless all my family members and friends are winning. And so what keeps me going? I know you asked a simple question. It's seeing other people win, right? It's staying focused on the goals. Like it's creating the new vision board every single year, and then attacking that vision board with a vengeance, because we only live once. We're only going to get older. We're not going to get any younger. True definition of wealth has nothing to do with money at all. It has everything to do with your time, being able to do what you want to do when you want to do it and who you want to do it with. So that's what keeps me motivated and keeps me sharpening my axe, is just staying focused on the goal, helping other people and serving others.
Well, here's what I love about what you just said, and I think I might have forgot to say this, is I remember when you were, maybe you might have been in your early 20s, and I went over to your home, which is where you were raised, and you actually bought that home from your mom, and you had your own home at 20-something years old. It had a pool, you had horses, you had stables. I remember going over there, and you said, James, I want to show you something, and you had paid for like a $20-something thousand floor. Like, I was like, dude, what are you doing? Like, I got this floor. It's going to have a star in the middle. I'm going. And I remember going into your office, and you had redid the whole house. And I remember looking up, and you always had, and I talked about this earlier, you always had a vision board. You always had a vision board. I don't care where we were at, whatever office, even the office you have now, and I don't want to jump too far ahead where you're at now, because I want to talk about that process. But you always had a freaking vision board. And I would look up and I go, what's that? That's where I'm going to live at. That's what I'm going to have. I'm going to do this. And so talk about when you believe it, you can achieve it. Training your mind. And it goes back to what this whole thumbnail is, which is what I want to put right behind you, as a matter of fact. And that is, let me get that up real quick. And that is $1 million mindset. Because one of the things me and you used to always talk about is you gotta believe you're a millionaire. Walk like one, talk like one, act like one, have that vision board, and believe that you are way before you get there. So talk about that $1 million mindset or vision board, and why that was so important through your process, because it always seems like you did exactly what you said, even to the point of the land that you're living on right now. I saw that on your stinking vision board, and all of a sudden you finished your home. You're now building a roof deck. By the way, guys, so you guys understand, and I don't want to get too far into your home right now, because I want to lead up to how that happened and where we're at with, when we met with crypto. But just talk about the vision board, bro, and why that was always a part of your process.
Well, again, it keeps you motivated. It keeps you moving forward. It keeps you moving towards something, right? You gotta have a crystal clear vision. You gotta put pen to paper, right? And in that first book that I read, Think and Grow Rich, it says, there's a line in there where it says, what the mind of man can believe and conceive, he can achieve, but you have to write it down, right? White paper, blue ink. Why blue ink? Because it opens up the neural pathways of your brain, and you'll actually remember stuff. So what am I talking about? Remember when we used to have dumb phones, not smartphones, where you weren't able to store a bunch of phone numbers and stuff in your phone, right? When they were dumb, you actually had to remember phone numbers, and you remembered everybody's number that was important to you in your life. But today, how many phone numbers do you actually remember? They call them smartphones, but if you lose your phone or the battery's dead, then how are you going to contact people you love and care about? So I'll teach you a little trick. If you write down on white paper with blue ink and just read that every day for 21 days straight, it'll be tattooed in your brain. So I learned through books and mentors that if you set goals and you create a vision board and you write things down with white paper and blue ink, like a vision book, right, you will accomplish those things. Like, things will get aligned in your life right? Things will get aligned in your life, but you got to take action. Nothing's going to come through osmosis, but you got to take action towards those visions and goals, and you just got to move forward towards them. And that's should motivate you, right? Whatever it is that motivates you, different things for different people. But that's why I always create a vision board. And as you obtain those things, those goals, then you got to celebrate them as well. Celebrate those goals, celebrate your achievements. Like, don't be so hard on yourself, right? You only live once. So I always continue to do that. Every time I'll cross a goal off the board, then I'll create a new goal. My wife and I, at the beginning of every year, we set goals together. Now that I'm married, we set goals together. So we have goals for ourselves. We have goals for our family. We have personal goals, financial goals, business goals, our faith goals, right? Our family goals, our health goals. Like, literally, we set goals in every single area of life, and then we put it on our vision board, and then we attack it with a vengeance. Why do I keep doing that? Because what else are you going to do in life, right?
That's right.
Like, what else are you going to do? Obviously, we help other people do the same thing, but you always got to have goals for yourself.
I love it. I love it. And before I get into crypto and how we rekindled that whole thing, and you were a big reason why I went to Vegas originally and why I'm going back to Vegas. I don't want to talk about that quite yet. Just really quickly, tell me how it felt. And I know Mom, I call her Mom, your mom, my mom, same difference. I know she felt proud to see John Singh at 19 years old asking someone if they want a hot dog or a Polish at Costco, to doing business and having meetings with Donald Trump. Just explain to me that transcendence, as far as, like, just, was it like an ah moment? Like, was it like a, man, this is, like validation that I'm doing things the right way? Because I know as a big bro, I felt super proud of you.
Yeah, I mean, just always striving to be better, right? And definitely love my mom to death, right? She raised me on her own. Again, my father passed away at a young age, so spending time with her was one of my biggest driving factors. That was my number one goal, my vision board when I was 19, was to retire my mom, to spend more time with her. Because the first 19 years of my life, she would work 100 hours a week. She was in the military, in the Air Force. She was at the Air National Guard. She was a bouncer at a nightclub. She had her own business.
Wow.
So she had a lot going on. And every summer I would go spend time with other family members and whatnot, up until I turned 12 years old. And that was one of the biggest motivating factors for me. But again, I always wanted to learn from the best. For example, the first time I had met Mr. Trump was because I purchased his university called Trump University, where he was teaching real estate. And when I wanted to get into real estate, I wanted to learn from everybody, just like I did when I first got into business at 19. Right. I bought the Russ Whitney program. I bought the Carlton Sheets No Money Down program. I bought Rich Dad's program. I bought Trump University's program. And that's the first time was wanting to learn from him in real estate, because obviously he's a big real estate mogul. And I had read some of his books, and I wanted to learn from him. So yeah, anyone that I've ever wanted to learn from, I would seek them out, and I would go learn from them. Like, when I got into real estate, I heard about a guy by the name of Brian Buffini out of Carlsbad, California, who is the king of referrals in real estate. His coined phrase is, "Oh, by the way, I'm never too busy for any of your referrals." So I went and took his courses. I went and met him. I went and learned from him, to the point to where I was teaching it inside our own real estate office, and we grew that to over 100 loan officers and realtors in 7 different locations that we opened up after they asked me to be a partner. Wow. But just continuing to learn and evolve. And again, there's levels at everything, and every time I see another level, once you obtain one, you want to get to the next level. It's like playing a video game, right? You beat a level and you want to get to the next one, right? That's right. So it's motivating. It's motivating to keep you moving forward, to keep you focused on something positive, to do good, to be able to give back. You want to have more so you can do more, so you can give back more. And that's just what motivates me, man. Just to keep moving forward and keep helping other people win.
And, that's what I love, as you're talking, I'm sure a lot of people are hearing a lot of the stuff that I talk about, as far as mindset, as far as vision board, as far as your why has to be bigger than you. And one of the things that you talked about right now, was investing in yourself. That's something that you was always really good at, as was I. And today we call that DYOR, which is do your own research, which is another way of investing in yourself is researching, making sure you're not just buying things because it's shiny or because someone's saying Pepe Dogecoin's cousin, whatever, right? And everyone's looking to get rich, so get rich quick. But never sacrifice integrity for growth is another thing that we always learn. And so one of the things I want to talk about as we come to the end of it here is, I came down to visit back in, was it 2020, 2021, I believe it was, early 21. I came to Vegas to visit and didn't know you were out there at the time. I came down with my mother-in-law, found out you were there. It blew my mind. I said, what are you doing? Matter of fact, I called you and you were like, bro, I'm in Vegas. I'm like, what are you talking about? You're in Vegas? Because you didn't have a Vegas number at the time. It was like a 8-something number. And you're like, yeah, we're over here. So we connected, and it's funny, bro, because we were like locked at the hips at that point. I asked you what you were doing. You were still doing some speaking things, some leadership things. You have, I don't know how many houses, maybe just under a dozen houses around different parts of the United States. So I was really intrigued with that because I was like, I want to kind of get back into that. You're always in the land, always into. You were basically. You did some kind of deal where you brokered like all these major properties in Utah, like all this land. You had negotiated 10 acres in Vegas, and I'm just sitting there going, so. But the reason I'm bringing all that up is I love the way that you and I always do things, and that is it seems like success, by always being around each other and sharing information. I was able to share with you what I was doing in crypto, which put you and your wife in an extraordinary position. Within a very short months of showing you guys what I was doing, you were able to start generating life-changing money in crypto. And then the byproduct of always giving back and helping and doing it with nothing, looking for nothing in return. You then put me in a position where I was able to share the 10 acres that you had, 5 acres. You were able to put me in a position to get 2 acres in Utah, and so it's just talk about that, just the experience that you've had in crypto. Why maybe I see you wearing a Bitcoin hat right now. I'm sure no one's missed that, and the fact that you were able to, we were able together to share that with so many friends and family that have positioned themselves. That they're very patient. They understand it wasn't a get rich quick overnight thing, but that we've really together have blessed a lot of our friends and family out of love. That when this thing happens, it's really going to change a lot of lives, and that's why this is so important for me, John. And I want to just have you touch on why we do the things we do without asking for anything in return, because I know I saw my mom do it, I saw your mom do it. And a lot of times people question, well, why do you do this and that? And I always say, look, I'm not on YouTube to make money. Yeah, matter of fact, as well as I do, I didn't want to be back in the public eye no more. I was done. I was like, John, I'm never going to get back in the public eye. I just want to enjoy my wife and life. And here I am again, helping people, serving people, which is, you got so much going on, bro. You're adding levels to your home. You're building a freaking resort out there. You got a newborn, beautiful son. My nephew, you and your wife are running a multi-million-dollar business right now. You're expanding into other businesses right now. And when I asked you, I said, John, can you come on? He's like, look, bro, I'm booked for the next month straight. But you know what? I'll come on tonight. So just talk about what drives us to just keep giving back and why you're excited about crypto.
Yeah, 100%. Well, to give back, think about it. Well, again, we're only here once. We're only here for a short period of time, right? There's that dash that's going to go on our tombstone of when we were born and when we move on.
That's right.
And so what are you going to do when you're here with your time, right? Like you can't take anything with you, right?
That's right.
So I just believe that we were born to have abundance in life, right? People that say money doesn't buy happiness, that's an old tale. If you're a good person, money will make you a better person, right? If you're a bad person, you're just able to do the things you weren't able to afford to do before. But if you're a good person, you want to give back. You want to give back. You want to help others. You want to make the world a better place. You want to educate people. You want to teach other people how to do what you did, right?
That's right.
And show them. There's a game plan. There's there's blueprints. If you're going to build a house, what do you need? You need blueprints, right? You gotta have a plan first. you don't just buy a hammer and nails and some concrete and start building. I mean, you got to have a plan, right? There's a permit process, there's an approval process. Like there's steps to do what you need to do. And it's like that with everything in life. Anything that you want to build in life, if you want to build the perfect body, right? Like there, you got to have a game plan. You got to hire a coach, right? You got to start eating right. You got to have an eating plan. It's not just eating right. You got to eat right for your blood type, right? You got to have a plan. And there's so many different variables, your age, your blood type, there's so many different variables, and you just got to have a plan in place. So once you've gotten to wherever it is that you want to go, you want to bring other people with you. Like you want other people to win, make it a win-win situation. In crypto, it just makes sense, right? I mean, a decentralized platform. I mean, how many people actually have faith in their currency, whatever country you live in, right? What is it backed by, right? Like what gives it value? What, ink on a paper, like what gives that value? And who's to say that some countries aren't going to accept it anymore, right? That's right. I mean, do you believe, I mean, my question to all you guys watching this right now is, do you believe that every government has your best interest in mind, right? Do you believe that every politician has your best interest in mind, right? So who has your best interest in mind? Probably you, the people you love and care about. So why cryptocurrency? Because I look at it like anything else. Like the people that I look up to the most and respect the most, like Mr. McFadden or Mr. Robert Kiyosaki, they're always talking about diversification, right? What people used to do back in the day, hiding that paper under their mattress. Well, what happens if your mattress burns, right? There goes all your money, right? We'll get a fireproof safe. I just got a phone call from a friend of mine just maybe like a week ago, and his building burnt, his shop. He has 40 acres out in California up by Yosemite. Okay. And there was a power surge from the local utility there, Pacific Gas and Electric, and it lit his shop on fire, and he literally lost $1 million worth of stuff. I mean, he, from food storage to vehicles, to side-by-sides, to quads, to dirt bikes, to guns, to ammo, to gold, to silver, you name it. And my first question was like, didn't you have fireproof safes, right? And he goes, yeah, they melted. Like they're only rated for 30 minutes, an hour or so. Wow. When it gets that hot, things melt, right? So why crypto? Because it's a digital currency, right? It's a digital currency that you have control over. It's decentralized, and if you move to a different country and you lost your cell phone, but you have all your information, guess what? You still have that currency no matter where you go. You can only carry so much silver with you. I mean, that's heavy. It's heavy and bulky. Same, even gold, same thing. You can only carry so much with you. But with crypto, I mean, you can go anywhere in the world. You can send it anywhere in the world. Really, really fast. So why? I just think it's the future. I mean, the government's talking about it. Mainstream adoption is here. It's happening. They're talking about it all over the world. So why? The beginning of anything, when people invest in the beginning of Yahoo or Amazon or Tesla or Microsoft or Apple or Disney, I mean, think about it. When they got in early, where are they at today? That's right. $1,000 in this or $1,000 in that. It's major. And I've never seen before, other than what you hear about in history, where you can get those type of gains, but in this industry where it happens a lot more frequently than I have heard in any stock in the recent years, or even real estate. Real estate's incredible, but it's a long-term play. It's not something like, it's going to be life-changing money overnight. It's a long-term thing. Over time, inflation, value of the dollar goes down, those assets go up, right? That's right. So why crypto? Because it just makes sense. And my big brother, Mr. James McFadden, told me to get some.
I appreciate you, brother. Well, I tell you what, it's been an incredible ride. I'm super excited, as are you. We went back this last month to closing the place out there, brand new place. We came to see you guys where the land is at. Your place is looking incredible. By the way, guys, not only did John connect me where we're both 5 acres right next to each other in Vegas, 2 acres in Utah, but he's also the guy who got me into collecting guns and telling me, hey, you need to collect gold. And what was it like 4 or 5 G's at Robert Kiyosaki? Can you quote that again or say what those are?
Yeah, gold, basically gold and silver.
Okay.
Guns and ammo. Grub, food, because if something ever happens and there's an emergency, how are you going to feed yourself? And if your power was ever to go out,
that's right.
How are you going to protect that food that you have stored, right? Ground, you got to have a place to go.
That's right.
Right.
Ground.
You got to have a place to go if something crazy ever happened. And then gasoline, because you need to get to point A from point A to point B of where you want to go. So you should always have a plan. Things are crazy in the world today. Things are crazy here in this country today. So it's always smart to be prepared. Be prepared. You don't want to be that person that has no idea what to do. Just like anything else you do in life, you got to have a plan. And Robert Kiyosaki talks about those 5 Gs all the time.
Yeah. Gold,
guns, ground, gasoline, and gold, guns, ground, gasoline. And what was the last one? Grub, food.
Grub. And you gotta be able to feed so family. Funny. I remembered all of them except for one. And instead of saying gasoline, I always said, because he's a real big Bitcoin, I said, get Bitcoin. That was his last G. Get Bitcoin. Because he's a big Bitcoin dude. I mean, big time. I mean, he used to be just gold and silver. He's a huge Bitcoin guy. So really quickly, guys, if you have any questions, anything, let me see if I can read through some of the comments here. It says that's what's up. A lot of appreciation for you here. It says, don't trust none of these politicians these days. That's right. I agree with that. Vision board, got it. I'll try that. I'm telling you guys, I implemented because of this dude. I never walked in his office. I remember I used to sit there, and he'd be on the phone walking out, and I'm looking at his vision board going, this dude is just ridiculous. I mean, he would, and everything that he put up there came into fruition, so that's a big, big plus. And you're always learning, guys. You can learn so much. Never think it's too late. What's up, Frankie Legend? How you doing, my friend? Let's see. That's right. It's never too late. Great. Yeah, that's right, Andrew T. You are on nobody's timeline. That's right. That's a great way to put that as well. Shouts out to my beautiful queen, Jeanette. She's in the house, investing in myself. I just left my investment property. I love it, queen. Good for you, queen. And let me see what else. Anybody else we have in here? Let's see. It says, I'm starting late, but learning that a good network equals good worth. That's right. Net worth. That's right. I agree with that. So, guys, I appreciate you guys very much. We're coming up right on the hour right now. If you guys have any questions for John, let me know. I'm trying to think of anything else. So, we went back. I'm super excited. One of the big reasons that I'm going back out to Vegas is not only because of the property that we're planning on building right next to John, but also just because he's there and it just makes sense. He's one of the reasons I originally went to Vegas. Him and his wife are a big reason that me and my wife are going back to Vegas. So I definitely appreciate you, brother. By the way, guys, if you guys get a chance, go into our Telegram. If you haven't connected to our Telegram, go to our Telegram. You'll see that we have a speaker coming up Tuesday, November 24th, who's going to be talking about, she's a master of not only making money, but also she teaches based off of some of the things. I don't want to spoil it, but because of some of the health issues that she has gone through, this amazing individual started meeting with doctors, start meeting with specialists, and she literally broke the code of how to be healthy, your body types, how to connect that with certain things, how you should eat, how she was able to self-cure herself, and really defy all odds. And by doing those things, it allowed her to get her body right to prepare to bring a new life in the world. And that just so happens to be my little sister, Veronica Singh, which so happens to be John's wife. She'll be here November 24th. Don't miss it, Tuesday. I'm super excited to have her. She is brilliant. I mean, me and John are brilliant. This girl takes it to another level. So make sure that you guys are there to catch my sister, Veronica Singh. John, is there anything you want to add before we take off, my brother?
Yeah, I was just thinking of one thing that I want to leave you guys with, and I know that they always say never talk about politics and religion and all that, but because of the way things are, let me just share a quick little story with you guys. We went on this all expenses paid trip from the company that we work with, and my wife was pregnant with my son at the time, so she didn't want to travel while pregnant. So I brought my mom with me to this trip, and we ended up going to Costa Rica, and this was just last year. And as we were in Costa Rica, the vacation place that we went to, it was literally like 25 minutes away from the border of Nicaragua. Okay. And my mom had never been to Nicaragua. I'd never been to Nicaragua. So I was like, hey, let's go over there. And we took two of our other friends with us, my mom, myself. We went over there to Nicaragua, and just to check out the country, and as we were traveling, and we hired a tour guide to bring us to all these different places, to like volcanoes, to lakes, to all the old town, like just to see the history and all that. And as I was talking to him and getting to know people at the restaurants and different places I was going, were sharing the story. I was like, hey, do you guys have guns here? And you know what? It's funny. They said, you know what? The government just took them away from us. They literally went door to door and they took away all the guns here in this country. And they promised that it was going to make us more safe and this and that. And ever since they did that, they started taxing us more. They started taking away more of our freedoms and rights. And we believed that they had good intentions, but once you don't have anything to be able to defend yourself from a tyrannical government, that's when they can do whatever they want and you can do nothing to fight back, right?
Wow.
So
Wow.
all I want to leave you guys with is don't listen to all the propaganda and everything else. Like protect yourself, protect your family, protect your loved ones,
Right.
and just always be prepared. It's always smart. I mean, think about it. Even if you lost your job, right? And people are like, what do you need food storage for? Well, hey, what if you didn't have a job for 3 months? You can still feed yourself. So it's smart to just start doing some of those things, because when things happen, like say when COVID first happened, right? There's long lines. People are trying to get toilet paper and this and that. Why put yourself in that position to be around all that craziness? And why not just prepare now? Even if you just did an extra $50 a month where you set it aside for some of this or some of that. That way, if anything ever does happen that's crazy, you're prepared yourself, right? Don't listen to what all these people, propagandists are saying. Just protect you and your family and your loved ones and the people that you love and care about. Because if they did that in that country, and they've done in many other countries, they could potentially do that here. You never know. Or whatever country you're in. So just always protect yourselves.
And the last thing I'm going to tell you guys, and I want to say this as humbly as I can, sometimes the only way to validate is to have someone who can validate some of the things you've done. I rarely talk about things that I do when I do, is to give people hope. You know, I was a guy, John know me, I was a nappy head kid that, you know, my mom was poor, I was on welfare, I had to jump in his mom's van to go work. And to do some of the things that I've done. I remember when I went out to Vegas, and I want to end on this just so you guys understand what you're involved in. And I sat down with John, and we decided to move there. And all of a sudden, John was coming around. I remember even your wife said, "What's wrong with James?" Because within a matter of about 3 or 4 months, you guys walked me by about 13 cars. You saw that I was generating hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars a month. And I was able to show you my wallets that consisted of just a few $1,000,000, right, or so. And I remember you looked at me and said, "Big bro, whatever it is you're doing, teach me." I say that humbly to say this. The reason I went to Vegas is because of who this guy is. The reason that this guy's involved in crypto is because of who I am. Success leaves clues. I'm not here to say hallelujah to me. I'm here to tell you that if a nappy head kid from Brooklyn, New York, who was thrown in special ed classes on welfare, who never got a break, if a young man who's lost his father at 12 years old, who grinded since he was 12 years old, from the time his father died to being on some of the biggest stages, there's nothing different between you and I and the people that are watching the stream. You know, and I'll leave you guys with that what we have here is so special. I want you guys to make sure that you guys embrace it. Every time I bring someone on like John, guys, there's people who would pay this guy 5 figures to flout, to speak to people. So for him to be here, John, from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate you, brother. I know you could be doing so many different things, but that's exactly why we build and forge the relationships that we have. And I just want you guys to understand how privileged you are to be in this space, in this crypto space. Embrace it. Don't treat it like some casino gambling thing, guys. Understand that this can change your life. And with that being said, John, do you want to add anything else to just stay in focus and always putting your why first, to let that lead you to success? Anything you want to add as we get ready to close, sir?
DCA all day, every day till the day I die.
That's
hey, I'm coachable and trainable, man. Hey, again, even if it's $5, $10, $50, like never stay the course. There's one thing I'll leave you guys with. Tony Robbins, he talks about this gentleman who was working at UPS, making $14,000 a year as a UPS driver, okay? And a friend came to him and says, "Look, you got to invest." And he's like, "I have no money to invest." He goes, "Listen, if the government came to you and they put a 20% additional tax on you, you'd scream, you'd yell, and you'd pay it, right? Because you have to, right?
That's right. And
he said, "What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a wealth tax on you to pay for your future self," right? Like that man retired with $71 million or $75 million, something like that, by the age of 65 years old, because he listened to his friend. So dollar cost average, pay your future self, right? inflation's going up, value dollars going down. So make sure that you pay your future self. A lot of, I get it. You know, the more income you make, usually the more money you spend, but you got to carve out some as much as you can to pay your future self, right? Because the stories that you hear, the success stories of individuals that have had massive success,
That's right.
it's because they reap what they sow. They planted seeds early so they can enjoy the harvest, right? It's the same thing with your life and financial future. So that's all I got for you.
Hey, if a young kid from Brooklyn can do it, and from the hood and where we grew up at, and a young 19-year-old kid who was flipping hot dogs can do it, you guys can do it. John, I appreciate you, love you guys. See you guys on the 1st of November. We'll be right there.
Look forward to it.
Much love to you guys. Tell sis I said hello and kiss my nephew for me. We'll talk to you guys later.
Do the same for us, brother. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, brother. Bye bye, guys. I hope you guys enjoy that. That's my brother John Singh. Not my biological brother, but my brother in every sense of the word. So I hope you guys enjoy that. I'm going to continue to try to bring people on. And again, this is not to impress you. When I talk about things, it's not to impress you. It's just I live that life. I know what it is. I know what it is to have nothing. I know what it is to want everything. There's a lot of people in my circle that also had nothing. And the only difference between us and the person who wants it is the things that we did in order to get there. So I'm here to serve you guys. I'm here to help you guys. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. Let me just send love to the family here. My beautiful Queen Jeanette, my greatest supporter, my greatest fan, my best friend. Thank you so much, sweetheart, for all you do. Thank you for the years of support. Without you, I couldn't accomplish any of this. So thank you so much. Bullish Big D, thank you, my brother, for being here. Liz, my sister, thank you so much for your support. Always asking people to subscribe. Always leaving, the Telegram information in, and just being one of our biggest fans. Anthony Wanna, thank you. Big Bro 10, I appreciate you. Bullish Big D, every time I needed content, you was there. Never had to ask twice. Crypto Tropics, appreciate you, my brother. Nest Force, thank you for always having my back, my man. Fishing with Camo Joe, thank you for being a part of our family. Andrew T, one of the channel's biggest fans, I appreciate you. Always One Away, thank you for being a part of the family. We've got, who else is here? Did I get everybody? Gmail Brown, one of our biggest supporters. Shane Sullivan, my man, Pots and Pans. Let's see, Beekeeper69, thank you, my brother, for always being there, and probably one of the biggest guys as far as always leaving comments, always being on YouTube. There's never a day I post a video that I don't see a comment that you've made. Thank you so much, my brother. Queen, thank you, sister. Frankie Legend, Mr. Barbecue, my wife's bestie. Thank you so much, my brother, for being here. Thank you for your support. Anybody else here? Squid Stream, thank you for your support, my brother. It means the world to us in a major way. Animal, you my man. Appreciate you very much, my brother. Anybody else here? I don't want to leave anybody. OMC, thank you, my friend, for holding it down. Anybody else here that I missed? Let's see. Anybody else? That's it, guys. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. Make sure you guys tune in tomorrow, mañana. I've got Garrett Smith, a multi-million-dollar real estate, a realtor who we go back about 10 years, extraordinary guy. Our bond is a lot like me and John's. We don't go back as far, but he's an extraordinary guy. Garrett Smith, again, make sure you guys tune in tomorrow. He's going to be talking about real estate, what's going on with the rates, what's going on with the market, and all those things. I want you guys to hear from somebody who's in the market. So, guys, make sure you guys tune in. It's your boy James, a.k.a. Six8Jay. Much love. I appreciate you. We'll see you guys mañana. Until next time. Peace.